Well, I actually knew Jim for quite a few years. We did a television show together called Soul Food. So we became very good friends. So when I heard about the movie role, I just really started bulking up, and I really wanted to play Jim in this because who didn't? I mean, Hollywood auditioned for this. And then Jim called the director and said, you know what, I think I know who should play me. And you know, you really should take a look at this wonderful actor, which I'm very humbled by. I'm very, very humbled by playing him. And I just hope I got it right. You know, I hope I told the truth about this man. And what I hear, I have. You know, he's very pleased with it. So I'm happy about that.
Jim is a guy who has a great presence about him. You know, how do you conjure up the acting ability to do that? Play a guy of that magnitude.
I'd like to think that we have similar spirits. You know, I'm a guy that came into the mindset, ask more of yourself than anybody can ever ask of you. That way you'll always be prepared. Now, if you open the dictionary and you open up the word prepared, it's got Jim Brown's picture on it. So I'd like to think, you know, there has to be, for him to say to the director, you need to look at this guy, there's something to say about that. So I'm humbled by that, and he saw something in me that hopefully the rest of the world now sees.
Now you said you met him before. I mean,
absolutely.
When I first met him, I was intimidated. I mean,
I absorbed him. When I first met him, I absorbed him. That was just something that I wanted to do. I looked at him, and it was kind of like his hand touching my hand was like melting candle wax together. I wanted to absorb him. I wanted to know what he knew. And I wanted to be able to, in some ways, experience what he experienced, to know what he came through. Sometimes the ego in me likes to think that I can take on some of the similar things that he can take on because I'd like to carry his torch and I'd like to continue what he started off.
He's not the easiest guy in the world to get information from, so how'd you get the information from?
He's a friend. He trusts me, and he's a friend. And, you know, I had to tell his story, so I'm sure he wanted me to get it right. Thank you.
Darren, you know, I'm looking at the movie and I see this face and I'm like, he looks like the guy from Soul Food, but you really had to
that 40 pounds changed it. That's why.
Yeah.
I gained 40 pounds. To play this role, and a lot of my fans who know me from Stomp the Yard and know me from Soul Food looked at me and they couldn't believe it was me. They thought I did something to my face, but my whole face had changed. My jaw got bigger, my nose got wider because of the 40 pounds that I put on.
You really look different. You said that you and Jim had a relationship already because you worked on Soul Food with you.
Yes.
In Toronto. So what about the role as a black man in the movie and the images of black men in the movie? What about that?
Well, it's very important because Jim has always been a person who has been seeking equality. Get everything, Esai, get everything. This is my son Esai. I'm bringing him out,
Esai,
right? He's going to be on the carpet, so I'm training him now. So when we're talking about people of color or black men in this country, we're talking about equality. We're talking about improving the standards. We're talking about Barack Obama. We're talking about giving us what we deserve and what we fought for. We're simply talking about equality in America. That's what we're talking about. So I hope that I am participating. My desire is to continue the fight, to continue the road, to continue the conversation about equality and pushing forth. In today's society, you know, we're dealing with a lot of sociological and economical problems right now, and we're looking to balance them.
You know, I noticed about your role, I don't know how you approached it, but I mean, did you have to hold it back? I mean, you really, you know, restrained it so that that we could believe that you were Jim Brown.
Right. Some of it was a compromise, you know, for the film with the director. Sometimes we disagree with certain scenes, but really it was all about telling a story about the relationship with Ernie Davis and Jim Brown. So it was really more about telling the entire story, and that's what I hoped that I did, and that's what I was trying to convey was the entire story.
Been to Syracuse before?
First time.
First time.
Really happy to be here.
Upstate New York, orange carpet. This is a big deal for this this community?
Well, it's a big deal in general. I think it's going to be a big deal for the rest of the world because what it does is the energy here, the information here will quantify all over the world.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy about that.
Well, we're happy that you're here. We're happy for the role that you played.
Thank you.
And for what you believe and what you stand for, because we just need to hear from more young brothers like you.
Thank you.
Represent, doing your thing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was your role at Jim kind of inspired by your relationship with him, or was he kind of on the set maybe guiding you or telling you kind of the story how he...
Jim Brown is an inspirational man, so I was inspired and empowered by him just in general for knowing him. My desire was to tell the truth about who he is and his relationship to Ernie Davis. Very, very simple. And you know, my job as a black man in this country is to tell the truth about who I am, what I believe in, and as an actor, to tell the truth about Jim Brown as much as possible and what he was conveying and what he's still trying to convey in this country and how powerful and empowering this man has been from the time that we have known anything about him.